Guys, hello, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am Geneva. This is Geneva in General. And guys, for the first time in my life, I finally had some In-N-Out burgers, like a big West Coast thing. This, of course, is just water. Honestly, I don't see what the hype is all about. It literally tasted like a regular burger. Like I just said, I actually got the burger with just mustard. I'm not really big on like ketchup and mayonnaise on my burger. They was like, do you want it with spread or without spread? I don't know what that was. I just said, please don't put no spread on my burger. Just give me all the vegetables with mustard. And again, like it just tastes like a regular burger. Like it don't matter where you go in this world, like universally, you go to Wendy's, you can go to, McDonald's really set themselves apart with the mac sauce or whatever. But all in all, a burger is just a burger. Like again, In-N-Out was good, don't get me wrong, but it just tasted like a hamburger. Like there hasn't been enough bad news, sad news in today's WNBA news, right? And we just saw the Las Vegas Aces get defeated terribly at their home court today by the Indiana Fever. Again, I've been warning Coach Noelle Quinn since last season, okay? I'm not a fan of the Seattle Storm. I'm not going to claim to be, but I'm trying to challenge myself to like really follow teams as well as the players as well as the coaches of teams that are beyond just the Chicago Sky, just the Las Vegas Aces, the Dallas Wings, Minnesota Lynx, Indiana Fever, like the big dogs, the top players, the top teams in the league. And when it comes to Seattle Storm, they were always like the bridesmaid. They were given the bridesmaid. Remember last season, Connecticut Sun? They were always the second most powerfully ranked team right behind the New York Liberty. And I always said the Connecticut Sun is always the bridesmaid, but never the bride. They can never just cut the mustard to actually get that championship win. I feel the same way about Seattle Storm. It's like for them to have so much viable pieces, like so many talented players such as Azzy McMagor, Nneka Ogwumike, Skylar Diggins, as scary as she is, she's very talented, right? The newest and latest addition being Dominique Malonga. They have so many talented women on their team. They had Jewel Lloyd, but they said like perhaps alleged allegations against the staff, the coaching staff, perhaps the teammates of Seattle. She alleged bullying tactics, being talked to crazy, and she got up out of there. That could also be why Coach Noelle Quinn has just been announced that the Seattle Storm will not be renewing her contract as the head coach for the Seattle Storm team for the WNBA. And again, it's like she just has so much talented players. And even Sue Bird and Breanna Stewart on the podcast of Sue Bird's podcast spoke a little bit about how they found themselves regressing overall as players when it came to being players for the Seattle Storm underneath Noelle Quinn. Again, I was very trying to warn Noelle Quinn. I spoke about this since last season. I said, Noelle Quinn has a lot of talented players. She has a very talented roster. Why is it that they're up one day, they're down the next, like the stock market, stocks and bonds. It doesn't make any sense how they seem to, again, they actually make it to the playoffs. So again, kudos to her. So I'm like, she's good for something, but it's like overall, the way that the Seattle Storm has just been getting did by any and every team, really, right? At any given moment, it just doesn't make any sense. And again, I believe like a lot of players such as Breanna Stewart and Sue Bird have expressed that how her coaching style as a coach, it just does not mesh well. It does not allow for them to really grow and progress as individual players. Guys, please allow me to read to you a little article brought to you by BleacherReport.com. It is titled, "The Storm's head coach Noelle Quinn will not have contract renewed after WNBA playoff loss to Aces." The Seattle Storm announced Sunday they won't be retaining head coach Noelle Quinn for the 2026 WNBA season. "On behalf of our organization, I would like to thank Noelle for her time with the Storm," General Manager Talisa Rea said. "Her commitment to the ongoing success of our organization and to furthering the development of our players was second to none. She put us in a position to win at the highest levels of the game, and for that, we are grateful." So why y'all firing her? Make it make sense. Well, rather than not firing her, they're firing her, they're releasing her, but they're not going to renew her contract to be the head coach for the Seattle Storm, right? Because the decision comes after a disappointing year that saw Seattle finish 7th, 23-21, and lose to the Las Vegas Aces in the first round of the playoffs. Back-to-back opening round exits isn't the outcome General Manager Talisa Rea envisioned when she scored a coup by signing Nneka Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins during the 2024 off-season. Nobody was considering the Storm to be the championship favorites in 2024 or 2025, but one postseason win between those 2 years is poor any way you cut it. The team's inconsistency this season also meant having a tough matchup against the Aces instead of playing the shorthanded Indiana Fever or the New York Liberty, whose lack of depth got exposed by the Phoenix Mercury. The onus is now squarely on general manager Talisa Rhea to get the franchise back to the heights it enjoyed with the trio of Breanna Stewart, Sue Bird, and Jewell Loyd. Once Stewart left to sign with the New York Liberty in 2023, Bird retired during the same offseason. Seattle was stuck between a rock and a hard place. Stars weren't signing long-term contracts in preparation for the upcoming negotiations over a new collective bargaining agreement. Pushing all in for its championship in 2021 and 2022 meant the Storm weren't developing young talent that would have been helpful when the rebuild started. Now Rhea is pretty much starting with a blank slate. Seattle has 4 players under contract for 2026: Dominique Malonga, Nika Mule, Jordan Horton, and Lexi Brown. The organization will have a ton of salary cap space, and almost every veteran is hitting free agency. So it's not looking good for the Seattle Storm overall as a team in the upcoming years. Because the presence of Malonga should help the Storm's pitch as well. In 16 appearances from August on, the number 2 overall pick averaged 12.1 points, 6.5 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks in 21.1 minutes per contest. Malonga's rookie scale contract is a huge luxury from a team building perspective, and her peers will have seen her massive potential. Because so much of the roster is unknown, it's tough to project what kind of coach Rhea will target. What kind of coach Rhea will target. The Storm may prefer an experienced hand, given how much that approach worked with Dan Hughes in 2018. The success of first WNBA head coaches Natalie Nakase and Carl Smesko may push them to think outside of the box. Either way, Rhea needs to nail the coach hire because that will set the tone for the rest of the offseason. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That could be more than likely the reason why we saw Coach Noelle Quinn was like very on fire. She's very soft-spoken. She's not very loud. Usually she's not very aggressive. She's just very, calm, soft-spoken. She gives me like Shea Butter vibes, cocoa butter, burner incense, mama goddess, earth goddess type of black woman, right? And in that the last 2 games when it was a Seattle Storm versus the Las Vegas Aces, she was turned up. She was turned up because I think in the back of her mind, maybe they already told her straight to her face, like, girl, you need to like advance us from the playoffs into the semifinals or else that's your job. Honestly, I wouldn't mind Coach Noelle Quinn taking over for Tyler March, okay, our current head coach for the Chicago Sky. Again, even though like she did make some the way she leads her team, the Seattle Storm, as talented as her roster is for the Seattle Storm, the way she led them, I do see why perhaps, her career has come to like a certain standstill. I don't believe it's the demise of her career. She could easily get another coaching job, I'm sure, either in the WNBA or the collegiate level for women's basketball, etc. But honestly, I saw this coming, okay? And even though I saw it coming, I still think that she has a lot to offer to an organization as a head coach, specifically at my Chicago Sky. At this point, I would swap Tyler Marsh out for Coach Noelle Quinn for us, or to be the head coach for, Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky in a heartbeat. Guys, comment down below your thoughts on the news breaking that Coach Noelle Quinn is no longer going to be the head coach of the Seattle Storm. Comment down below.